Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is your place for all things stocks and crypto. From beginner tips to expert picks. Use this as fuel for your investing journey, because when you're in the know, your money will grow. All views expressed by speakers on the Bean Pod are solely their opinions. You should not treat any opinion expressed on the Bean Pod as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a specific strategy, but only as an expression of their opinion. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Welcome to the Bean Pod. This is Shane, aka the Jolly Green Investor.
And this is Josh, the Nifty Investor.
Today we're going to be talking about where does the money go when the crypto market goes into a bear market.
And there's a lot of money that will be flowing into another sector somewhere on this planet.
Trillions of dollars, perhaps? Where we need to chase, we need to find this trillions of dollars, chase it, and park our money there before the trillions get there.
And I did a little bit of research today. I was trying to find, looking into my idea is I'm trying to find sectors that were really hot at one point earlier in the year and go back to those that may have sold off. Right. So I started to look at first of all, I looked into the infrastructure bill, and I was like, okay, maybe I can find something in this infrastructure bill, with the bridges and roads, because I know that they're allocating $110 billion to roads and bridges. So I was like, okay, let me go look up some construction companies. They're all mooning right now.
Yeah. Sheba Construction, Floki Inu Construction. Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like looking at Caterpillar and, these other big name United Rentals, stuff that it's like, that they're going to need these machineries to build these roads and bridges.
Right.
But it's already been factored into their price. They're already sitting at really high valuations right now. It's not a good opportunity to buy. So I started looking around maybe some other industries. Like I was looking at supply chain issues and maybe something to do with maybe 3D printing. So I tried to find different sectors. That was my idea.
Yeah.
Look for sectors that have been beaten down, but have a use case going forward in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's definitely a good approach to take. I think what I was doing was pretty much the same thing. I was also trying to take the psychology of investing into it and think to myself, what type of investors are crypto investors? So we know they're forward thinking, future, they're basically investing in the future, high growth, high risk. So what stock sectors meet those criterias, and maybe look to, if I was a crypto whale, I would probably be putting my profits into these sectors because it aligns with, everyone has an investment thesis and things they like to invest in. I do, you do. So here's examples of those sectors. So one that we talked about in a previous episode, psychedelics, risky, early stage, future tech, high growth opportunity. Other things would be, maybe cannabis.
Which is good too, because both those sectors have at one point mooned.
Exactly.
Have then sold off.
Right.
Have a use case.
Yep.
So if you have trillions of dollars flowing out of the crypto market,
potentially,
why not look back to some other sectors that were hot at one point?
Yeah. And I mean, it's going to be a lot of money. So in 2017, when the crypto market crashed in 2018, it went from $800 million market cap to $100 million market cap. That was in 2017. Now we're dealing with a much larger market cap of money in the crypto market. So we're looking at $3 trillion as of today. Maybe when the bull market is over, it could go to 4, maybe 5 trillion. So if it goes down to 1 trillion or 2 trillion, we're talking about $3 trillion. That is enough money to make stock market sectors move. So when you're looking at psychedelics or cannabis or any of the other sectors that we're going to discuss today, there could be big opportunities, but you don't want to chase. So you want to identify the sectors, identify some companies in those sectors that you like, and maybe take a position. Well, I might be taking a position before I think the bear market comes. Just, nothing's for certain, but I think if we really break it down, we could find some good opportunities.
Yeah, for sure. And, you could still find NFT companies because, when it comes to ticket sales and music and all, that's not going away. So you could still look to crypto related companies and still put your money into stuff like that.
Yep.
You could look to the stock market, which, I know the S&P was ripping, but it's only ripping because Apple and Facebook have been doing well.
Yep.
But when you look at every other stock, it's been bleeding.
Yep.
So there's definitely going to be some gems out there you can find for sure.
I think one of the sectors that I'd be looking at for crypto profits to move into is probably the closest thing to that. It's the digital payments and fintech sector, right?
Right.
So people are investing in crypto because it's a new financial ecosystem. People understand that finance world is changing rapidly. There are a lot of public companies that are leading this forefront. So when you're looking at a company like Square, one of my favorite tech companies.
Has to be.
Yeah. So I would say, a company like Square or Lightspeed, which is the Canadian version of Square, SoFi, or, Affirm, all these fintech companies that are leading the new wave of financial revolution and technology, those could potentially be where some of these profits are going because they align with the crypto investment thesis of financial freedom.
Right. And they'll be adding in crypto to their platform.
Yeah, Square already has.
Yeah,
Cash App, you can buy Bitcoin.
They have Jack Dorsey, right?
Yep.
He's like the Elon he's a forward thinker. We talked about Tesla on our previous podcast. It's the guy running the show. It's the brainchild. It's the one who's making these decisions. And, the fact that he has Twitter and the fact that he's got Square and, he's building the crypto payments. It's like all of it's genius.
Yeah.
So that's an excellent company to look at.
Definitely.
For sure.
I think, fintech sector, like another one would be big data, Palantir, like very forward thinking, solving problems in new ways, artificial intelligence, analytics. I think a lot of that has to do with crypto.
Yeah.
So Palantir, you have interesting guys like Peter Thiel behind that as well. Or even cybersecurity, crypto at the root of it is a transparent financial system, which although there are a lot of scams and rug pulls in there, at the end of the day, it will decrease all this stuff because it makes everything transparent and more secure. So cybersecurity, I think, is very related to crypto. So companies like SentinelOne, who I posted about when they IPO'd in the Beanstalk Discord, and that went really well, or CrowdStrike.
Yep. CrowdStrike, Datadog.
Yeah.
They all kind of do something a bit different too.
Yep.
I think it's SentinelOne where they are able to detect the issue in real time.
Excellent.
Whereas, CrowdStrike will kind of report the issue and then they can solve it. Whereas, they all do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So it's cool that you got that in this cybersecurity space.
What other sectors came up on your list?
So I looked to areas that we're struggling with now, and there's a need for these areas. So for example, like healthcare, I know that nurses are being burnt out. I know that the pandemic has wreaked havoc on, the whole system. There's, people in the healthcare profession who don't want to get a vaccine, so they're stepping away. So we have a growing population. It's a real strain.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, well, let's look for some companies in the healthcare sector. And then I start to think, okay, 5G is a rising technology as well. So maybe if we put the two together, I found something like
Teladoc for sure.
Right?
Yep.
So it was sitting at it's sitting at half of its all-time high.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, okay, this is great. It's trading at a discount. There's a need for it, and it's incorporating 5G tech with an area in our society that needs help. So you can get these doctors or nurses or whatever working from remote areas because they have the 5G technology to make the images super clear, and it's just going to be a lot easier to do these things. I like a company like Teladoc.
Right. Okay.
Oakley dokley.
Bit different.
I think that's a good one. I think you're looking at, as you said, companies that spiked earlier. I know Teladoc spiked at the birth of the pandemic because it was like, oh, telephone doctors, everyone's working from home. So it had a big spike, but it's leveled off, come down a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good one.
There's still a need.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is just not going away.
No.
Other sectors I was looking at was one we've detailed in the past. We talk about it all the time. Electric vehicles and green energy. I think it lines up with the crypto thesis of forward thinking, future problem solving, high growth. Maybe, it hasn't seen the adoption that we know it will be, just like crypto. Crypto is 5% adoption, 2%, 5% adoption. Electric vehicles sitting around the same numbers. I think there's a lot of parallels between the green energy electric vehicle space as there are in Tesla. So I'm looking to companies like we discussed, like NEO, or a company like STEM, green energy batteries, or a company like Plug, hydro batteries.
And those have been beaten down like a little bit. I think
Big time.
Plug and ChargePoint?
Yep.
They're both down a bit from their highs. So again, like another great opportunity to buy closer to the bottom.
It was January, I don't know, maybe December, January. the green energy boom in stocks. You know, you pick anything that has green energy, electric vehicles, batteries, the companies that made the radar technology for their new self-driving cars, all those stocks went crazy and we did really well off those. Yeah. But they're all beaten down. And I think that investment thesis lines up with crypto. So that green energy, electric vehicles for me is a sector to watch.
I like it. So another sector that I looked at, another issue, taking the same thesis and the same theory, is the supply chain. You know, the world has become so dependent on one another. So we rely on China to produce cheap goods. Then you need those workers to show up. Then you also need people to be driving the ships, or sorry, what do you say when you're taking a boat somewhere? It's not driving, it's
pilot, captain.
I'm not sure, whatever the word is.
Commandeer. Yeah. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now. You need that boat to come across, and then you need the drivers, you need the forklift drivers, you need the warehouse. So there's so many components to the supply chain. I think that these companies now are going to start looking at manufacturing in-house, so within their own country. So when the pandemic hit, for example, there was a shortage of masks and all these other things. It came up. It's like, well, why don't we have these things in our country? So another sector that had a really big spike in January, February was the 3D printing.
Ay, caramba.
So I'm looking at maybe some companies you can start printing these items that we need here. And I know the technology is getting better. You know, it's becoming faster. You can print metal, you can print plastic, you can print all these things.
Can you print Lambo?
Win Lambo. I'm looking at, they've been being down. They're sitting at a fraction of what they were back in February. And that's when Desktop Metal went public.
Yep.
And another thing that happened too was, I think it was 3D Systems. They were expected to have a loss of 15%. They actually had revenues of plus 5%. So it was a 20% difference in the expectations.
Their last earnings?
Yeah, in their earnings.
Interesting.
Year over year. So that brought so much attention to that sector. Like, oh, this is going to be profitable. This is going to be, so I'm like, okay, maybe we can start using this. And I just saw something on the news the other day. They're printing meat or something like that.
Sounds delicious.
It was actually being used. So looking at stocks that are like down at 25% of what they used to be, a use case, I think these could spike back again.
Yeah, I think the 3D printing sector, it aligns perfectly with the crypto investor thesis. Forward thinking, a 100 times better solution than the current way of manufacturing goods. Yeah. I think that's a great one.
And it ties into your green sector. It's like, if you can do it in-house, then you don't need to transport all these things, and it's going to help with the emissions, so it's
absolutely. I think 3D printing is a great one. I'll have to add that to my list. Desktop Metal. I remember when that went public via SPAC.
I think you put me onto that at one point.
For sure. It's, I think we should get, after we get our, Oculus, we should get some 3D printers up in here. We'll 3D printing as the podcast goes, and you can comment what you want us to 3D print next.
Well, 3D print Metaverse.
And that brings me to my next sector, Metaverse companies, where I think that people are going to put their investments. Augmented reality companies, virtual reality companies. Again, this is the future. Who's building the platforms that people are going to be using? Other than the obvious, Meta.
Yeah.
Quick note on that. I think, the stock is probably undervalued at the moment. Those guys are owning the metaverse. People are already paying them for their digital land, like Facebook, Meta. That thing is, I think it's I mean, it's already market cap of $1 trillion, but shit.
$2 trillion.
They're going to take over that metaverse. So I think anything related to that kind of stuff, I know there was platforms we used to look at that were building augmented reality for e-commerce or anything. So there's tons of stocks and public companies that are building AR, VR, and metaverse. And we're only at the birth of this because this all just happened. So look out for the companies that are pivoting into metaverse, public companies, stocks. That could be where the crypto money goes as well. Because again, you're thinking crypto, you're thinking metaverse, you see the bear market, everything's collapsed, you're taking your profits out, where you're going to put it, finding those crypto type companies like Fintech, blah, blah, blah. Metaverse, I think, fits right in with that.
Yeah. And you just did some metaverse type stuff recently.
Yeah, birthday, absolutely. Right? I did a virtual reality video game experience with the Oculus.
How was that?
It was fucking incredible, man. I am buying an Oculus. Absolutely. It's game changing. Once you see the power of what the metaverse is going to be like, No, I definitely think it's a big time growth sector.
Crazy. So I wonder, because you went to a facility and experienced this. I saw the video of you guys walking around, all that stuff. Is there going to be a need for those when people have them in their own house?
The facilities, you mean?
Yeah, like
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you go to a gym because it's better,
right.
because the place was pretty big.
Yeah.
You need a
It's like
pretty
a
big
hockey
house.
arena or
You need a
something.
pretty
Yeah.
big house to use those kind of games. There's going to be the games that are built for in-home, but then there's the games that are built for big, and then there's ones where you play with 20 people in the same
Right.
room.
That's
The
cool.
multiplayer shootouts,
Yeah.
which I think there will be the widespread adoption will be the home ones, but there's going to be, in facility experiences that will never be able to be matched at home.
Do you remember who was powering the devices there? Like, do you remember
The
seeing
brand
any
of the device?
the brands at all? Or?
There was no brand on it. I'm thinking it was an Oculus.
Okay.
But
Because that'd be interesting, because that's one way of,
Yeah.
to the listeners out there, that's one way of identifying
yeah.
up and coming companies that you could invest in is where are you seeing it now?
Who's already seen the widespread adoption?
Exactly. And those are companies that it's like, oh, okay, that could be it.
I think it was Oculus just because I don't know of any of the big other ones that it could be.
Yeah.
But definitely keep an eye on Meta as a potential investment opportunity for this one.
And then I guess all the games associated with the Meta as well.
Yep,
right?
for sure.
Like gaming doesn't go anywhere.
No. Gaming doesn't go anywhere.
No.
And usually, crypto and gaming go together a lot.
Yeah.
So EA, Activision, Take-Two, Twitch with Amazon, like it's all, those are just another great one. I didn't have that one written down. I don't know if you did, but just talking this out, I think gaming is a good one too.
The EA CEO said that NFT gaming is the future of the industry.
Absolutely.
So, and that's EA Sports. That's
knows.
Madden,
Yeah.
right?
Man,
So
NFT gaming and blockchain gaming has probably been some of our favorite talking points in the Beanstalk Discord for the past 3 months, and those companies have been giving us insane returns.
Yeah.
So if you're not already in the Beanstalk Discord, you got to check it out. It's free. What other good sectors do you have anymore?
that's kind of like the ones I looked to the Biden infrastructure bill.
How about space?
Space
ones. I feel
When are
like
we gonna
that's
be able to
like,
invest in SpaceX?
yeah, probably. I think eventually, but for now, there's Space, Virgin Galactic.
Yeah.
There's there's ASTS. I think it's satellite
Satellites,
phone.
yeah. That one is. I think that one has a
Yeah.
lot of potential for sure.
So I think it kind of lines up. It's like blockchain, crypto, problem solving, future, space. I mean, when moon, right? Like moon.
Win Lambo to the moon.
To the moon, like
Yeah.
crypto, moon, space stocks. Just don't oversimplify it.
Okay, so I love space. Like I studied space in university. Astronomy.
So did I. Best work from home class
That's
ever.
great. Not astrology, it's astronomy.
Yeah, astronomy.
And
If you're in astrology, that's predicting Bitcoin cycles, but that's a topic for another day.
but like I love it. But to me, I'm thinking, all right, we're building spaceships. How good is our technology really? What are they trying to do? I want to invest in space, but I'm not sure. I'm having a hard time seeing like the utility of it. Like, what are we going to do? Create a colony on Mars? Are we going to do something on the moon? Like, what are they really trying to do besides get people up there and say like, yes, I went to space. So a lot of these rich billionaires are doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Virgin Galactic is. It's a tourism in
yeah.
space. That's that's the first scratch of the surface, right? Then there's all these infrastructure things that are going to be moving to space, like phone satellites and transportation. And there's going to be energy resources mined from space, from the comets or the moon. Everything will be slowly moving, and very slowly being the operative word. Slowly moving out to space. There's going to be investment opportunities for sure, but I just thought that was kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, I love it because it's really hard to break the Earth's atmosphere.
Yeah.
I've
never tried.
We just see. I guess, yeah. How would you actually know?
Another sector I had was, and this was again kind of lining up with where's the future? Where's the money lying in the future? Like crypto, Chinese stocks. So, everyone knows eventually China will take over a lot of the world's economic producing power. The technology will start to come from there. It's already being made there. So if you're looking 5-10 years in the future, maybe some of the money, and we already know crypto, there's a lot of crypto whales in China, Bitcoin whales in China. What about these Chinese stocks that are severely beaten down after all of the legal stuff that went on in China earlier this year? Companies like Baba, or IQ, which is like the Twitch of, IQ is the YouTube of China. We got Huya, which is the Twitch of China. We got Pinduoduo, which is the Pinterest of China, or Bilibili, which is the YouTube. They're all the Chinese versions of all the tech companies, right? Super beaten down, like 25% off their all-time highs right now. Big opportunity. I just think a lot of that Chinese crypto money could flow into those companies. It's another sector that is mooned, beaten down, future opportunities. So it's one that I always look at. I still haven't gotten big into it because the legal risks are there, but it's on the radar.
Yeah, it does. Anything over there always terrifies me.
For sure.
for good reason too.
Definitely.
So it's definitely like a good framework. I think we're working. I mean, this is all speculative.
Yeah.
It's all theory. It's just, ideas that we have where the money could potentially flow. Yep. And it sounds like we're taking the same approach on this. It's how do crypto thinkers think? Where is there's companies and stocks or other crypto companies that have been beaten down and there's still a utility for them moving forward?
Yep.
It sounds like that's the...
And there's one important sector that we need to discuss. Penny stocks.
A very risky place to be, but you're right.
Right? Where else are you going to get those crypto gains in the stock? You're not going to find them in the stock market. You're not going to find a Shiba Inu 70,000% gainer in the stock market. It's going to be in the OTC markets, penny stocks. And I know that crypto investors trade in the OTC.
That's right, they do. And it's if you have never traded a penny stock before, for anybody listening,
it's a rush.
You're looking at these are companies. I use this quotation. You never know what they are, for example, but they're trading at a fraction. Like we say penny, but they could be trading at a fraction of a penny.
0.0001. It's so, like a shitcoin.
Like a shitcoin. So if it goes up to another fraction of a penny, it's like a 60% gain. Yeah. But it might also go down 60%.
Those could literally go to zero.
Literally.
Yeah.
I think my very first investment was a penny stock.
You can't sell it anymore?
No, I can't. It's like I put $1,000 in. And
you have these worthless shares.
It's so bad.
Every time you open your portfolio, it's a stain.
I can't get rid of it. I can't. Yeah. It's like
call the bank. Yeah. So yeah, I think OTC penny stocks is another area. Like OTC has been fucking beaten down this year. Yeah. It had same thing. It mooned in January, February. We were in the OTC. We thought, why would we ever invest in real stocks again? The OTC, you just pick a company, it goes up 100x. But it's not the same right now. It's all beaten down. I think a lot of that money's in crypto right now. So when that crypto profits get taken, I'm going to be looking to the OTC. I'm going to be taking a small percentage of my crypto that I'm happy to go to zero, and I'm going to be looking at OTC penny stocks. The tricky thing about OTC penny stocks is it's fucking impossible to keep track of what's going on in there.
Yeah.
There's so many companies. You don't know what they do. They're changing. They're merging. Their PRs are coming out. They're going up. The only way to keep track is by joining the Beanstalk Discord and letting us do it for you.
That's it. I love it. If you can jump on Twitter, I mean, there's a lot of, but I wouldn't advise that because there's so many pump and dumpers out there. They're getting paid behind the scenes to be pumping up a certain penny stock and all of a sudden you're getting rug pulled, on the OTC world.
It is. The OTC is very similar to crypto in many ways. And that's why I see a huge parallel. I would say all of the stock sectors that we described in the earlier part of this episode are good ones to look into in those companies. But the OTC cannot be overlooked. Yeah. If you're, it's a bit of a risky side to you and you're willing to do it, I think the OTC, come into the Beanstalk Discord, check out our penny stock channel. We're always posting about the penny stock companies that we think might be good.
Yeah, and there's some real there are some real companies. They just have they're only valued at they have a penny next to their. Yeah, like there was Interscope. It's like an actual hearing aid technology company that
for sure
actually has kiosks. They trade at 1 penny. There's a potential there. A
lot of the good cannabis companies and psychedelic medicine companies trade in the OTC because they're not on the NASDAQ yet, right?
Yeah, because of the Schedule 1.
Schedule 1. So all the American cannabis companies are OTC.
Yeah.
Trulieve, Curaleaf, Green Thumb, those are ones that we like.
Yeah.
A lot of the psychedelic ones, there's only like 5 that are on the NASDAQ. So a lot of, SciBio, they're all OTC.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out the OTC. There's a lot to learn in the OTC. Highly advise jumping into the Beanstalk Discord. We got the Penny Stock channel.
It's one to look at. And one thing to mention is maybe approaching, the same way we handle our crypto portfolios, where we have a majority of our portion. You call it what, asymmetric?
Yeah,
investing?
asymmetric opportunities. Yeah.
So where we put a majority of our money into the larger caps, ones that have been around for a while, big companies, but we're going to allocate a small amount to these gambles, in the hope of getting a 10 to 50x, knowing that we could very well lose it. And that's a very small portion of our portfolio.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's all about balancing out that portfolio between find a few of those sectors, find a few of those companies that you think the crypto gains could be going into, do the research, always do your own research. But I think it could be a decent way to play the upcoming bear market.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. And these are all companies I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be taking my notes here, and I'm going to put them up on my wall. And as soon as I see Bitcoin go down to zero, then I'm buying OTC stocks.
That's it. Awesome. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the day.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys all tuning in, and make sure you tune into the next episode. It's going to be freaking awesome.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.